listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to Paris, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement.
The Mbadi I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips.
Nasikia Sifuna anaongea na nguvu. Wakati unaongea mambo yangu Sifuna, ujue mimi ndio mwanzilishi wa ODM. So naenda polepole kidogo.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi ndio Sifuna.
I think William Ruto is actually unfit for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya.
Bring politics into the military. And for your information, hiyo Ruto must go, si kusema ati atolewe ofisi kinyume ya sheria. No. Watu is a clarion call in preparation for the general election. Ruto atatolewa kikatiba na uchaguzi wa 2027.
Watu walikuwa wamezoea kutugawanya, sisi hatugawanyiki, sisi tutakaa wote pamoja. Na tupatiane heshima. Tuna kama jamii, sisi ni neighbors, tujue vile tunaweza kuishi wote pamoja.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another amazing episode, another amazing moment. Kama dawa, I go by the name Shadizwa, and I want to welcome you for today political open forum show, whereby we'll be having a discussion and we'll having a conversation tonight, whereby one of the conversations that we'll be having tonight is all about our nation and how do we ally it. There are a lot of happening today, and they'll be taking with the briefings of the day and what happens during the day. Many things are happening during the day. The tributaries are the families lost their loved ones. So they'll be checking more just towards that, and also reminds you about the IEBC. A selection of the people will be standing for IEBC still goes on. IEBC officials still goes on, and it's almost coming to an end. Apart from that, we'll be checking other more details to other stories that has hit the headline today. But I want to welcome you and ask you to feel part and parcel of this so that we can move together and we can have the conversation together. I want to be brief. I'll be brief to the point and doing the analysis to the point, and also I'll be sharing the link shortly to invite other people who can be joining me up the studio so that we can have the conversation together and we can have the talk together, because this talk is not about me, it's all about us, and it's all about every Kenyan that on board, because there are a lot of things that's happening that indeed they are not good and indeed they are not pleasing. So I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this as we are moving on swiftly. We are live on Sound Candy Talk Facebook, Sound Candy Talk YouTube, and Sound Candy Talk Sound Candy Talk Live YouTube also. So please, I ask you consider subscribing if it's the first time coming across the channel, and if also you're coming across Facebook page, please continue following and also share to your friends so that they can have these conversations and they can also be part and parcel of this, so that they can be happy or they can be contributors who can be there to build up the nation and take our nation to the next level. Please, I want to ask you people in the comment section or who are watching, please just go in the comment section, tell me where you are watching me from and it'll be good and it'll be great, because that we are here to move together, and together I normally tell you we can. Let us move together as we continue. Welcome back. You can use the link on the comment section to join up the show, or if you want to be part and parcel of this as we are bringing up the analysis. So I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this as we are moving on swiftly to check what source the updates and the details that has happened throughout the day, and which one we will have in the conversations that somehow tricky about the denomination. And when we check out well this week, we have been having hiccups and we have been collection or ball about the denomination, whereby some people are saying the denomination is doing a bad or is taking a long time, and as people are condemning what they are doing. And also we have seen what has happened during the week because of the denomination. So I want to welcome you. Please come and be part and parcel of this so that we can have the conversation on the denomination of what is going on, and also other things, and also other IEBC, because IEBC is one of the board that we are depending on it to bring election or to bring free and fair election during the next coming election. So if we can't be careful with selection or what we are putting up on the IEBC, I promise you indeed we'll be having a hiccup, or we'll be having a bad chance or a bad omen to take up to IEBC. And today we also have a poll question that I'll ask you to vote on it and give me your opinion about it. Do you trust that the current IEBC vetting process to deliver impartial elections commissioner? Do you believe like that? Just tell me or answers. The answers are there that yes, no, not sure. If you're not sure, just click not sure, or they need more transparency. So please just tell me like that, and I'll be happy. As we are voting, please I ask you consider liking the video. If you haven't liked it, please don't just vote the poll question and then don't contribute on liking the video. Please, that will be injustice indeed. So let us do that. And if I'm insisting, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so as we move together. Let us begin with our top-notch stories. There I'm having a lot of stories today that I will be sharing with you, and I'll be having a conversation with you. I want to see this. Let us begin with the story of the updates, or other updates of the news. And what have been happening, there are a lot of things happening. As like today, we're having a family that has lost 9 people who were burned on fire. Let us watch this update and then we'll get up together so that we know where we are moving on.
Tragedy struck a village in Ugunja, the county of Siaya, where a family of 9, a man, his wife, and their 7 children were wiped out in a suspected arson attack. Preliminary investigations show that the deceased family had been engaged in a land tussle with their neighbor, who is also a relative. Grief spiraled into vengeance, and angry villagers retaliated by burning down the house of the woman suspected to be behind the attack. As Mary Mwoki tells us in the following report, shock and devastation still hangs over Upande village in the county as investigators piece together what could have led to the horrific incident.
In the silent midnight darkness in Upanda village, flames lit up the night, not with warmth but with death. A family of 9 wiped out in an instant. Oma Opondo and his wife Fulchista Onyango and their 7 children aged between just 6 months and 17 years all gone. The futures of an entire family extinguished in flames. The air reeks of petrol and smoke. The house is a husk of ash and twisted metal. Scorched pots, a charred bed where some of the children slept and died, lie strewn across the ground. The items, relics of lives that were violently snuffed out in the dead of the night. Sylvester Omondi, who was sleeping in the next compound, says he woke up to thick fumes of smoke but was helpless to save the family.
Nilikuwa nimeamshwa na harufu ya petroli Lakini kufika nilipata moto bado haikuwa imeenea sana, nikapiga nduru lakini watu hawakutokea. Walikuwa wamewasha moto kwa mlango na wakaongeza kifuli kwa mlango, hawangeweza kutoa kifuli. Sasa moto iliwazidi na wote wakakufa moja baada ya mwingine. Watoto wakilia na jina yangu kwa sababu mimi ndio wanakuanga karibu nao.
Kitu ambacho imetendeka siku ya leo hapa Sigomre tujawahi iona, na kwa hakika tuko na huzuni sana mpaka hata tuwezi kuongea maneno mingi.
Faces lined with anguish, women wailing uncontrollably, and men standing still. Their grief quiet but no less profound. A village thrown in mourning. Family and relatives who are still reeling from the shock of the tragedy that wiped out an entire lineage say the now deceased family had a long-running dispute over a piece of land with the family of the woman suspected of carrying out the attack. A court battle that was ruled in favor of the late Ouma Opondo, and with the orders for the suspect to vacate immediately. A victory now drenched in blood.
Ilikuwa imefika wakati walikuwa wakwenda polisi, baada ya kutoka kotini walikuwa wameamriwa kuwa wahamishe kutoka hapa hivi, na hofia kuwa ni hili jambo ndimefanya hili lote litendeke.
In the raw heat of grief, rage erupted. The home of a woman suspected to be behind the attack was torched by angry villagers, the community executing justice their own way and seeking to avenge the family of Ouma Opondo. An act of vengeance that has deepened the village's wounds and threatens to ignite a broader conflict.
Kweli ni kwamba kibui imepatikana hapo na kibui ya petroli. Na hiyo ni thibitisho kubwa kabisa, hiyo ni exhibit kabisa. Situation vile nimeona hapa, situation is tense. Anything can happen right now as we speak. Naweza sema kwamba serikali ikuje haraka iwezekanavyo.
The loss of 9 lives and the destruction of 2 homes have left this village on edge with fears of escalating conflict. Police have questioned several people of interest and arrested the woman suspected of the arson attack. Homicide detectives have launched investigations, but for now, Upanda village is united in sorrow. Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
That was happened in Upanda village, whereby some people have lost their lives and because of petroleum inside the house. So please let us take precaution for those who we are using petroleum products, or we are using petrol maybe for using for generator, or for the ones having the motorbikes inside the house. Please let us be careful and let us consider the safety first. If you know that everything is not safety, please don't keep your motorbike closer to kids and closer to fire, also the petroleum containers and also the petroleum itself. If you are buying the petroleum, please let us go serve the purpose immediately and let us sort the purpose out, because when we lift it hanging like this is one of the tragedies that we can get ourselves into. For example, like this family has lost the whole family because of petroleum, which was kept inside the house. And it was not taking the safety precautions. So please, I ask you, let us take the safety precautions of our goods and our petroleum as even we are using it. Yes, we need it. We know our engines can't move without it, but let us make sure we take precaution and let us keep it away from the kids and let us keep it away from the fire, please. I will consider, and also let us use the correct container to carry the petroleum. We have this the kind of container that we use to carry petroleum. Please let us use the right container to carry the petroleum. Don't just carry petroleum with a plastic container. Please let us consider that also. We'll reduce such a kind of incident, because this is so sad. And that's why we send condolence to the family and to the village entirely, because they see the village also has lost. Because when we lost one person, we have lost somebody in the village. It may be the person could be the one change the village. So please, let us take such precautions and let us be safe and let us be sensitive to such kinds of things. So I want to ask you, please, let us take precaution on such incidents. It not happens again. Apart from that one, I want to take you to another level whereby we'll be checking about another family also which has gone to tragedy again. Let us watch this and then we'll have the conversation over it because of the family.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us here on JKL. A family in Nyanduma, Githunguri, the county of Kiambu, is in pain after their kin was attacked, sodomized and left for dead. The distraught family say that they have not received much help from the police despite reporting the incident that has left everyone in the village worried and shocked. Here is our reporter, Franklin Wala.
Wednesday evening activities are in top gear at the home of Joel Ngugi in Nyanduma, Githunguri sub-county, ahead of Ngugi's burial on Thursday. Ngugi, a 43-year-old man, met his untimely death on Thursday last week in the hands of unknown criminals. The man reportedly left home for a nearby shopping center but never returned. The following day, his family was alerted that Ngugi had been seen in the same area but in a sorry state. According to Ngugi's sister, his brother was allegedly waylaid by unknown people as he walked home the very same evening around 8 p.m. He was taken to a nearby bush where he was assaulted and sodomized, his attackers leaving him for the dead.
Bado alikuwa na uchungu mingi na alikuwa ananiambia huku kuna uma anataka maji. Mimi wakati nilimpea maji, hiyo maji unampea yote inatoka.
Upon the discovery, his family tried seeking medical attention in a nearby Karatina Model Health Facility. Here, Ngugi did not receive urgent medical attention as nurses insisted on having the matter reported first to the police. This forced his sister to rush to Nyanduma police station and file a formal police report. At the station, Margaret Nduta recalls how police officers dismissed her request to report the matter unless she was in the company of the patient. Having received no help, Margaret rushed back to Karatina Health Facility to pick her brother and have the matter reported. Unfortunately, Ngugi died moments after being served with an OB number.
Huyo brother yangu akililetwa hapa hata kuwa uhai. Niandikie tu OB ndio brother yangu nione kama nitamuokoa. Akasema acha nikuitie mkubwa. Wakati mkubwa alikuja, akasema mimi siwezi kukuandikia OB kwa sababu hiyo mambo ni mara ya kesi mingi iko huko. Huyo polisi akaniambia hii kesi iko. Sasa enda ulete huyo kijana nimuone. Nikajaribu kumwambia hali yake hata gari kumbigilisha hawezi fika hapa.
Even as they embarked on preparing for Ngugi's burial, the family began pursuing justice into what had happened before their kin's deaths. An autopsy would confirm the deceased was sodomized, broken ribs and injuries systematic with blunt force trauma. This was his cause of death, but those who had committed the crime were nowhere to be found. Ngugi will be buried on Thursday at his village as locals try to comprehend what happened, fearing for their lives since such crimes have become rampant in the area. Family hopes that the police will expedite investigations by not only arresting perpetrators of these horrendous acts, but also putting in place deterrent measures. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
That story we bring up Franklin, and we're checking out also another tragedy happening inside the family. Please let us be careful. This is so serious. This is in security purposes, and this man was sodomized. And please let us be careful also as we are moving around, because these days people are not normal. Some people are abnormal, others are having a bad heart, some of them suffering from pain, and which has led to this. Okay, I want to bring this down a little bit, and I want to hear from you. What do you think happens so that, or what do you think normally happens until things get to such a point whereby men are sodomized and other people are being sodomized, and then yet this person is going to his sister is going to the police station saying that my brothers have been accused of ABCD, or my brother has been sodomized, and he has injuries that he can't even move, so that we have taken him to the hospital. So please let me for the B3, and then I take my brother to school to the hospital, and then the police saying that I must see your brother first before I write the B3. So what can you speak also about that? Did the police lack the justice to help that young man to get treatment on time and escape death? Can you say that the police contributed towards that? Can you say what happened to that young man? Okay, please tell me your opinion. Also, I'll be checking what's your opinion. I'll be also reading your opinion it too, because they matter to me too. And also I'll be checking your words also, because this is so serious. If a man can be done like this, and then right now the man is dead, so the man is being buried. This is so bad and it's so sad. Okay, as we're still speaking about the trajectory, I would like to announce this. Please let us come on board, all of us, and let us pay attention to this. Please, everyone. One of us, called Stone PK, is one of the members of Sound Candy Talk. He's one of the fans and one of the people that has been on this channel for so many years since the channel was started up. Stone PK has lost his daughter. So please, I urge Team Sound Candy Talk, please, let us stand with Stone PK at this hard moment. You normally say during the hard moment, that's the one time you know you are true friends. So this is the time that we need. Stone PK needs us, and we need to stand with Stone PK. So let us pull our resources together. Let us, if you can reach to him or the family, please send your condolences and say South Candy Talk has sent their condolences too. So please, let us stand up with Stone PK and help Stone PK with this tragedy, because it's difficult. It's not easy task. If you have been ever having one, you can understand. So let us please stand up for Stone PK and help Stone PK to win this. Let us work together with our brother Stone PK, and it will be good, and will be better, and it will be very appreciative from everyone who has been here. Please, I want to ask you, please, let us do that. If you can reach to Stone PK, please do that, and then it will be good. For those who are in the WhatsApp group, please let us support Stone PK from the WhatsApp group and help him to make sure that everything goes smoothly and everything goes according to that. Thank you and welcome back up on this amazing moment. Please, I want to urge you, invite somebody to watch with. Don't just watch alone. The people are still watching. The number is still between you. More so, Team Facebook. Team Facebook, we are not where to be seen. Please, Team Facebook, let us do this. Let us do this. Let's do this. And we'll be good. Team Sound Candy Talk Live, we are at least trying up. Team Sound Candy Talk. Pia tuko ndani ya nyumba. Team Facebook ndio bado tuko chini. Let us do pull up Team Facebook, because Team Facebook, hey, you are the best people I've ever seen. Team Facebook. So I am expecting to see you leading from front, because ever you have been leading. Also Team X, also you have been doing good. And I think I'll be considered to Team X. Team X, I think I am supposed to give to you, because you have been doing a good job. So I want to bring also other stories that broke up during the day. This one is amazing. Let us check out this, because this is one of the churches inside of Kisumu, on side of Nyanza province. We had some hiccup a little bit, and we had the maandamano of a certain church kidogo ikasema kwamba tuendi mpaka tusikizwe. Let us watch out this.
Now, police have indefinitely closed a church in Rongo town following a series of alarming events and public outcry regarding an unknown number of deaths and illegal burials associated with the church. The scene in Kochola village has sparked fear and prompted a major investigation. Our senior reporter Sharon Otieno has the details.
In the heart of Rongo at Kochola village lies a church shrouded in mystery. To some, it's a place of worship and community. To others, it's a cult with dark secrets. A story now emerging of a church where faith and fear intertwine, where the lines between devotion and danger blur. In a dramatic turn of events on Sunday evening, a family came forward to claim the body of their kin, whose burial was being planned to take place within the precinct of the controversial Melchior St. Joseph's Missions of Messiah Church in Opapo, Rongo town. The family, accompanied by police officers, stormed the church, rescuing 57 members, including the body of the deceased.
The brother actually was dead, and he was laid in a particular room, in a certain room there. And when we actually pleaded with them so that we can take the brother to the morgue, they refused, saying that according to the church norms, it cannot be possible.
Leo baada ya kupata habari kwamba kuna kwa hii kanisa kuna watu ambao ni wagonjwa na wengine wako na majeruhi, tumekuja and we have managed to rescue 57 persons in this church, ambao wengi wanachukuliwa hospitali waende wafanyiwe uchunguzi, alafu kesho ndio tutapanga the way forward.
Church members, including the deceased eldest daughter who resides in the church, insisted that they were honoring the deceased's will.
So yesterday in the morning, he called me and told me, my child, we are here with you. I'm the one who has been here with you. Protect my body from the outsiders. Don't let my brothers come and take out my body outside this compound.
Kwanza wewe kabisa mwenye ananiuliza ulikuwa hapa na hata mliwauliza unataka kwenda hospitali, wakasema imani yao inatosha, na kama ni kifo Mungu amejua hiyo ndio njia yao ya kwenda mbinguni. Sasa mnataka sisi tulazimishe mtu, lakini amejua imani yake na ameshika imani yake. Ni huyu.
Inside the church premises, investigators found unusual shrines and congested living quarters, raising further questions about the nature of the religious group and the well-being of its followers. The rescued worshippers were taken for medical evaluation, but reportedly resisted, leading to their transfer to police custody as investigations into the church's activities intensified.
That church has several people, and it has several rooms, and it has several premises. So the premises, when we wanted our brother, we found our brother in a premise lonely there. So I don't know whether it was their morgue.
Last month, the peace of this community was shattered when a police officer was found buried within the church grounds. The circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear, but what followed was an investigation that would unearth disturbing revelations. The events in Rongo have sent shockwaves across Kenya, raising concerns about religious freedom and the potential for exploitation in faith communities. In a significant development, police have since closed St. Joseph Missions of Africa Church, cordoning off the area as a crime scene. Sharon Momanyi, NTV.
This what is happening. We have never recovered from the Shakahola story, because the Shakahola story is still moving on and the case is still on the proceeding. We haven't closed the case yet, but we are still seeing these things are happening. So please, Kenyans, tell me what's not happening with you, Kenyans. Tell me what's not happening with you, Kenyans. Kenyans, what's not happening to you? Why do we mislead the religion? Why do we use the religion in a different manner? Why do we use the religion to manipulate? This is so sad, this is so chaotic, this is so bad. Please tell me, what do you think? What is it? This is so chaotic, this is so bad. Believing that the church that people were supposed to go to and people were supposed to have the freedom to worship and serve God there, you find that the same church is the one that bring other things that are not bad and are not good. For example, like this church is saying that until police are claiming that it is the crime scene, but they are saying it's all about their faith, that we make sure that nobody removes their body from that home. Please tell me your opinion about this, because I don't want to speak much. If I speak a lot of things about that one, I will just go crazy. So let me avoid that. And just let me do away from that. Let me listen from your opinion. Please tell me what is your opinion on that. Please, I want to know your views and your opinion too about this, because this is not for me alone, it's for everyone. What do you say about the religion? And what do you say, or what do you speak when you see the religion going in such a directions? It's a direction where they see like people are being manipulated, our parents are being manipulated by the religion. And when we believe in the religion and people begin to manipulate us to do the religion, meaning they're showing us that we're supposed to take that religion which is not direction, which is not good, whereby people losing their lives in the name of that we are trusting that faith is working. Okay, we don't say that faith is not working, faith is working, but not anybody. If somebody is sick, please let us get the medical attention, and then God will heal. The doctors, they treat, but God heals. So God give us the doctors, the good doctors, so that they can help us to go ahead and ahead. So please let us try our level best to help one another so that we cannot end up in such like ditches. Please tell me your opinion about that, and I'll be also glad to listen to it too. Okay, as we are moving out from that, I want to take you to Rongo Church. Let us watch this.
TV.
There was drama at Rongo Police Station in Migori County after 57 faithful of Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church refused to go home, insisting that they can only return to their church where 2 members reportedly perished after refusing to seek medical attention. The County Commissioner Mutua Kielu revealing that there were registration anomalies while setting up the facility, which remains cordoned off by authorities undertaking investigations amid reports of cult-like activities associated with the church.
57 congregants of the Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church are spending the night at the Rongo Police Station for the second successive night. The faithful have refused to go home, insisting they will only know of one residence, Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church in Rongo, Migori County.
If you talk to them, they would rather be together and die together.
The standoff causing 8 children to be transferred to nearby rescue centers.
We are going now to use the law that correctly expresses what they are doing, because they have gone beyond the radicalization.
As the 57 members who also refused to be medically examined on Tuesday stay put, some residents went to search for the missing kin, who they say have been separated from their families for close to a decade since being recruited at Melchior St. Joseph's Missions of Messiah Africa Church.
Waliomba wakaomba mpaka ikafika wakati Otieno Toyo na Nyango mke wake wakapeana mwanao wa kwanza kiume kama msaada kwa kanisa hiyo. Bado tulikuwa tunatafuta polepole, sababu hatujaona kaburi chake na hatujaona dalili yoyote ya kuonyesha kwamba alikufa.
Ananiambia yeye ako kanisani anaomba. Sasa nashindwa, najiuliza, sasa hiyo ni Jerusalem gani yenye wako hapo? Yenye iko hapo?
Nilipoteza mtoto wangu 2017. Sijapata mtoto. Nilikaa mwaka mmoja kama sijapata mtoto, nikapata Dalmas Otieno kama alichukua mtoto wangu. Wakanyidoto.
St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church remains shut, with police patrolling its surroundings after bodies of 2 members who reportedly perished due to sickness were found. It has also emerged that the registration procedures used to set up Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church were altered.
The church is not registered because the certificate we got was a Company Act incorporation, which we can share with the media. That means that either by, and we can't assume that it was just by coincidence, somebody must have known what they are doing. They not register a society, they register as a company. A company has to have articles of association. We must know the directors are. So we are pursuing all those grounds.
No arrests have been made so far in relation to the deaths which reportedly occurred inside the church premises, amid fears that this could turn out to be a replica of the Shakahola findings. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Health Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale has appointed a 13-member.
That's what happened at that place. Please let me hear from you. Let me hear from your opinions too, because they matter too. This is so serious. Things like Shakahola spits itself against as we are watching it. So, okay, that was the updates of the day. I ask you, please don't go away. Let us move together as we're joining up the second segment. Thank you and welcome back for the deal and the D of the day. So this is the gem of the day. We'll begin with the IEBC. IEBC has broken up the silent as they were summing up the story of commissioners. So let us watch out this, and then I want to hear from you. What is your thought about that?
7 more candidates gunning for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Commissioner IEBC, appeared before the selection panel today, defending their suitability for the top electoral body job. Former IEBC corporate manager Tabitha Mutemi, who was among the interviewees, said she will bank on her 12-year experience at the commission serving as a corporate communication official to better the electoral agency. Others who appeared before the selection panel include Tobiko Naisiae, Simeon Muket, Solomon Muntet, Stephen Kiambi, and Sylvia Ndanu. The interviews are set to close tomorrow after a rigorous 1-month vetting period for both the IEBC chairperson and commissioner's positions.
For a fact that elections management is not only a very lonely field, but it could as well be a death to someone's career. I'm aware of the fact that as a commissioner, or indeed any elections manager, your fidelity has got to be to nothing else and no one else other than the Constitution and the people of Kenya.
And I just want to assure you and to promise you, should you give me this position, I will exercise my duty with the highest degree of care, skill, and diligence. I will bring honor to this country and to the office that I will be serving.
Majority of us is, what am I going to get from the job? But what will the job get from me? The knowledge I have, the experience I have, is what I give to the job.
I see a point of maybe creating an endowment fund with IEBC, where like-minded people can contribute to it with friends of IEBC, like this election panel.
That's how things are going on. That's how things are. And that's one of the poll questions that we're having. Please also vote for me so that I can know where you want to the Kenyans to go. Or do you think that just when it's right, do you think they're supposed to check more details? Amaji, itakuwa vipi? Niambie tu. We don't easy. And also the poll question is all about that. So let us vote. Don't enjoy. Huyu amesema nini ama wewe unasimamia wapi? Wewe unaunga hii ama hungi hii mkono? And it will be good so that we can move together and we can analyze it together. As we leave at that also, one of the hits of the day, hitting the day, is all about the story of Sharon. And let us check out this.
Former Migori County Governor Okoth Obado has defended himself in court, denying any involvement in the murder of Rongo University student Sharon Otieno. Obado said his relationship with Sharon wasn't a secret affair, and he had informed his wife and apologized to her before Sharon's death. He recounted a meeting where his wife proposed giving Sharon a house, an offer he declined, insisting that he had no plans to marry her as a second wife and was not party to her murder. Willie Lusige was there for us.
Former Migori Governor Okoth Obado has sought to clear his name in the ongoing case linking him to the murder of university student Sharon Otieno, for which he was earlier found to have a case to answer.
From me was
On Wednesday, Obado told the court that he was transparent about his affair with Sharon, had confessed to his wife, and had already taken steps to end it before Sharon's tragic death. He revealed that he admitted to the affair, apologized to his wife, and assured her the relationship was over.
I agreed that I would be channeling my assistance through Mona. And that was being done, even though we had terminated the relationship, but I was still assisting.
In a surprising revelation, the former governor also detailed a private boardroom meeting where he found his wife, a journalist identified as XYZ, and a man named Lawrence Muller. His wife offered to give Sharon one of their houses, a gesture he declined, insisting he had no intention of marrying a second wife.
Sharon's proposal.
He advised instead that he will support Sharon by buying her land in Homa Bay and building her a house. However, the challenge was that Sharon wanted a house in either Kisumu or Nairobi.
So I asked Mola to go and relay to her that it would be much more easier for her to be settled around Homa Bay, not in town but just around Homa Bay. And even a proposal of buying land and building maybe a house of 3-bedroom house that would cost around 3 million.
According to Obado, Sharon agreed to move into a rental house while waiting for a house to be built, a transition that she was reportedly comfortable with.
My lady, there was a proposal that was brought to me by Moses to move from my mother's house as we await for the house that was to be constructed. That she had now accepted.
He further revealed that Sharon's pregnancy-related health issues were discussed, and he promised to support her through Mola. He also arranged for her to have a medical cover.
It was coming from who? From me, of course. From you to Sharon.
Obado and his co-accused will carry on with their defense against murder charges that carry a possible death sentence. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right. Also, this is one of the cases that has taken a long time since it has been proceeded to the court. And today we'll hear from the governor himself speaking about or defending himself. So please let me know. Do you feel justice there? Do you feel justice can come? Do you feel justice will be done or not? Please let me know from you, and that will be good so that we can hear, or I can know much from you. Please, I want to hear more from you as we are moving on swiftly. I'll play one of the video, then we'll join up with the conversation on another higher step level. And this is how we'll do it today.
You are watching Sound Candy Talk live.
I recite the Apostles' Creed. But secondly, and importantly, and as you mentioned, allow me to pass my deepest and sincere condolences to the people of Kariobangi North. We lost a member of County Assembly, John Munuve, who was Kimanzi, who was MCA for Kariobangi North. He collapsed at home. I don't know why you call it murder. I don't know. Maybe you have information, but the autopsy is tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we've asked for full investigation to understand what happened. Because I don't think he had a history of illness, but we'll let the professionals tell us. Death is a serious thing. Death is not something that we can, play with or politicize. He was very firm, and he was very passionate about the issues he believed in. And the times we disagreed, but then also the times we agreed. We sat down, we had meetings, and I really wish, I spoke to his brother this morning. His brother is called John Kimanzi. I've spoken to him again this evening. I know they're doing the autopsy, and we'll support the family. But all this is in the hands of God. But what we want, to allay all this, whatever political speculations could be there or whatever it is a full investigation into what happened to Mheshimiwa. Yeah.
And if something happens and the finger is pointed at certain individuals, will you all take action, or you just leave it to police and investigators and all that?
We have agencies in this country that are charged with those responsibilities, and I think they should do their work. We have the police, we have our government pathologist. I think we'll also have an independent one. There are processes in this country that work, and they must work. Because if it was foul play, there must be justice. Yeah. And really, I believe in the right of everyone to be who they are, and no one should ever think that any kind of dissent would be met with any form of violence. And so, just to allay those fears and those rumors, full investigation must be done. The brother was distraught when we spoke to him. He told me he felt confused. He doesn't know what's going on. He's a bit more calm this evening. And really, you can never feel the pain of someone who's lost someone. Yeah, you can't. You can't. And we really wish them the best. I know the family, the wife and the child are traveling from Namibia. They're going to be coming in. But that's life. All of us are going. At some point, and it's God who decides when we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Governor, let's switch gears here. While you were away,
yes,
the heavens opened up.
They're still open.
It seemed like every other day there was flooding in your city.
Yeah.
Is it the drainage? Is it mismanagement? Because now potholes are everywhere, man. I can't remember how many times I had to change my tires.
On your G-Wagon?
Imagine.
Oh, no.
Bro. But anyway.
Yeah, but okay.
And people died, by the way. People were swept away by the floods.
Yeah. Across the country, we've had that problem. Across the region, actually, not just Kenya. And if you look at the issues, even the issues we were discussing last week of climate change, the sheer amount of rain that is coming down is higher than ever before. And a lot of our drains were designed for a smaller capacity of a seasonal rain in the city. And so we got our green army. We have 3,800 youth who collect the garbage, remove the blockages, and they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. But for real, we need to expand in some areas and look at the cost of it vis-a-vis, what you call an event that doesn't happen so often, And you see what happens. And an example I'll give you is Ojijo Road and Kipande Road in Parklands. There was always flooding there. Complete, terrible flooding. And I took a walk and I went there. Ojijo Road has a 1.2 meter drainage. When they did Thika Road, that's Kenha, did Thika Road and all that, they created that 1.2 meter drainage. It connects to a 0.6 meter drainage on Ojijo Road. And so science will tell you there'll be a backlog. And I implored upon Kenya, why don't you guys complete your job and add another 0.6 on Ojijo? On Kipande, sorry. To date, it doesn't flood. And so there are many of those fixes that we must keep doing, and we keep doing as a county. But, at the end of it, it's why you've seen governors, and you had the Right Honorable Prime Minister talking about the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. The resources to sort these things out are still held by the national government. And we said, look, the road maintenance levy, you pay for it. I think you pay a lot because of your car.
Yes.
Because everyone who buys fuel pays
a levy.
The levy is to fix roads.
Yes.
In our country, we have two categories of roads mainly. There's also international, but two categories. There's national roads and county roads. County roads are more than 65% of all the roads. But all that money goes to only national roads. So the road I was talking about intervening, Ojijo Kipande, is under the national government. Jogo Road, Agwin Square, all this under Kura, Kera, And so when I heard, and I was away when I heard the former Prime Minister saying that, look, all these agencies should be under counties. You know, why is the Kenya Rural Roads Authority doing roads in the CBD of Nairobi? It's not rural, you know?
Yeah.
And so that discussion must be had. And I know we have a matter in court because the resources to sort that out. We know what needs to be done. We know we've sat with the engineers. I've sat with the engineers board. I've sat with our engineers in the city who are very competent. But the resources that are needed to expand that drainage are what must come to counties as right. So there's 10.5 billion that has not been held. It was frozen by the courts that should sort out that issue. And so I didn't shirk my responsibility because I had complaints about Mombasa Road, Uhuru Highway. That is not even, it's an international road. It's not under my purview. Jogo Road, Juja Road. I was here the other day in Hurlingham. And I went to the minister and I asked the president, please support us. And I'm very happy that for Nairobi, we've agreed on an arrangement, you know, and right now we're going to do, once the rain subside, of course, because you can't do asphalt when it's raining. 2.6 billion worth of roadworks are going to be done in the city, across the city. And the Constitution and the Urban Areas and Cities Act envisages a special arrangement between Nairobi as the capital city and the national government. And so there's an arrangement that we want to use based on that to sort out many of these roads that would otherwise be ignored, you know. And I've told you before, if you give a member of parliament who should do oversight, legislation, and you know, representation, the work to also do roads, the allocation of roads will be political. So the member, I don't use examples, but a member would assign roads to a place with a higher population. So none will do your roads in Karen, none will do your roads in Westlands, none will do your roads in Jogo Road, a road that traverses many constituencies, none will touch. Yeah. And that's why it must be under the governors. And that's what we're saying. Under county governments. And that's why we have devolution.
In the meantime,
you see, these agencies, Kura and Kera and Kenha, were all formed before devolution. They were formed before we devolved governments. They were formed before even that designation of national and county roads. So many of these roads and many of the complaints I get, and I still send my people, are not roads under our purview. But we still have to do it. National government.
That's national.
National.
They've done a horrible job.
I don't want to blame them. But you know what we did? I went there with the CS teacher, all the way from IEBC place. We went all the way to Machakos County, under the expressway.
Yeah, downstairs.
There were two contractors from just before IEBC place to Olesereni. There was one company, and from Olesereni down to Mlolongo, another company. And the one before, because of our discussions, has been removed, and they've got another company. But you see, it's under the purview. They have the budget, they have the money, but the blame is the governor.
The governor. It's your city. Look, the other thing that
it's not. It's your city. It's all our city. It's not. but at least there's progress there. And let me tell you, our president has done something amazing.
Other than the chapati thing,
they've securitized road maintenance levy fund because there are many instruments financially you can use. And so a lot of the pending bills that were there, you know, the viaduct coming on Haile Selassie, the roads that CRBC had been doing in Nairobi, a lot of what NMS had started that are national projects are now being funded. And so in a few months, let the rain subside in June, mid-June, you'll see a big change.
You're going to promise Kenyans that?
I can promise Nairobians that. I can promise Kenyans that. Because it's actual discussions we've been having. You know, let me tell you, Jeff, there's no governor in this country who doesn't want all his roads fixed. Why? We also drive on the roads, you know, and we live in the cities and we know the impact of doing them. We want it done, but let's also have the right proper governance structure and financing to the right place. You're paying for every time you fuel up, Jeff, you pay money for roads. But 60% of the roads you pay for are not being factored in. Is that fair?
It's ridiculous.
It's not fair.
It's ridiculous.
So I mean, I can't assume what the courts will judge, but I hope, because it makes sense, you know, that it should be distributed equitably based on the responsibilities in the Constitution.
Okay, tell me something. Some roads in neighborhoods, they've been flooding for the last 3 weeks. Probably the water's still on, it hasn't drained away.
Yeah.
What are you doing about that? Because that's the county roads.
Like which one?
Kilimani.
Where?
What do you mean? Where?
Which road has flooded in Kilimani, Jeff? Name one.
Okay, from Dennisprit to Olengroine, right? Towards James Gishuru.
Yes, it's a Kura road, but the issue has been the car wash that has been next over there. You know, they have been blocking to keep the water, and we've removed that. We've removed that. Yeah, but the road is under the purview of that agency I'm talking about. It's not a county road.
So you feel, are your hands tied? Do you feel sometimes? Yeah?
No, I feel devolution is something that develops and keeps growing, you know. And we've reached a point that counties that now have the capacity. You know, I have more than 150 engineers in the city. Possibly I have more capacity than the national government engineers. Possibly, you know, because of the sheer number. Artisans and the guys who can do it. But the resources must follow functions. The first law of devolution, Jeff, because devolution is based on the principle of subsidiarity. The first law of it is that financing must follow the functions. So it's revenue assignment, your revenue capabilities. Chapter 12 of our constitution says this is what the national government can raise, this is what the county can raise. The fourth schedule says this is what you must do, this is what they must do. Then you cost that and say, okay, from what you can raise and what you can do, this is the gap that must be filled. That is the gap that is left in devolution in Kenya, you know. So of course, if it floods, I will not say, okay, that's a national road, I'll not do anything. I've sent my engineers there. Today, my engineers on Jogo Road. Jogolin has been flooding, you know. My friend Benjamin sent me a message yesterday. I saw it. I have a disaster, you know, group where I see real time what's happening. And I keep sending them helter-skelter, even to roads that are not under our purview, you know, because we must do it. Nairobians don't care whose road it is under.
They don't.
They don't care. No. When it's in Nairobi, they'll say it's the governor. But understand the predicament we're in. That this is a road that has been financed. It is under a different level of government. They have money for it. In fact, they have what we call performance-based contractors who are meant to maintain those roads.
Tell me something. Why do some of your critics say that Nairobi was much better under NMS and General Badi?
Because they're critics. That's why they say that. If you're a critic, you must criticize.
Do you think you have done better in your 2 years and 8 months?
Of course. Because let me tell you, those are huge falsehood. It was a lot of PR. Because let me tell you, they left me with 16 billion pending bills in 2 years. 16 billion pending bills. Which a lot I have to pay. A lot of what looked like was being done was not paid for. And that's why I'm saying the resourcing of the functions is as important as the function being assigned. How do you have a pending bill of 16 billion in 2 years? Remember, Nairobi County government in those 2 years under NMS gave 27 billion shillings, real money, not budget, money to NMS. The national government also did projects. They did Uhuru Park, part of it, which also has a pending bill. They did Central Park. They did some of the hospitals and AMREF and whatnot. But still, despite the 27 billion we've sent you, still handling payroll as a county, you leave a bill of 16 billion. So it looks good, but it's superficial, it's fake.
How's that going to be resolved?
We agreed with the Auditor General that all of the bills incurred under NMS must be paid by the national government. Because Article 187 that envisages the transfer of function says that while the constitutional responsibility stays with the level of government sending it to another level, it must be paid by the level that has taken it. Because you've come up with projects that are not in our budget, they're in the national government budget, passed by the National Assembly. Why should Nairobians pay for that? You know why? So all of that 16 billion, I think it's now possibly come down to 14 or 13, will be paid on the executive office of the president. And we will take them up once they've cleared those certificates. So, I mean, it looks good, but it's all about financing. Let me tell you. And I keep telling you how much we've raised revenue. You know, we've raised higher than NMS did. The highest they did was 8.7 or something, or 10 billion possibly. In my first year, I surpassed it. In the last year, I did 12.8 billion. This year, my target is 20. I have 2.5 months left. Already hit more than 11.5 so billion. But even having done that, Nairobi needs close to 100 or 60 billion to sort out all of these problems. And so the financing structure of the capital city, which was envisaged by those who did our constitution, must be relooked at. It must be. And secondly, because I've done ads in the papers, I've seen today Kisumu has done other counties are doing, the biggest revenue earner in a city is property taxes. You have all those other markets, parking, business permit, etc., which I'll speak about if you give me a chance. But it's property taxes. Nairobi has 250,000 parcels of land. Do you know how many accounts they are paying rates? 50,000.
50,000.
50,000 accounts on Nairobi Pay.
Out of?
A few might have 2 or 3 parcels, but they can't have. So the things you're asking about, it's 50,000 accounts carrying that burden on their shoulder. And so that is why, and I'm very happy the National Assembly passed the Rating Act, that I now have the power to enforce. I gave people a waiver, a grace period. I extended it until the end of this month to pay your rates. If you have a piece of land, now I have all the data of all of those 250,000 parcels. I know who is not on our database. And the law, if you look at Section 19 of the Rating Act, and reading from Section 17 coming down to 19, if you have an apartment block and you're not paying taxes, your rates, I can collect rent or put it on a receivership or auction it. Because why are we letting a few people, it's not equitable, carry the burden for all of us. Nairobians want services. That's all they want. They want a clean city. They want water. We've made progress on water. We've added 140 million liters per day. We made progress on water, but it's not enough. There's still a gap. Because we receive 525 million liters a day, we need 900. So we've added 140. I'm really struggling to do 220, which we can do with Maragua 4 and Northern Collector 2. But Nairobi is a service county, you know?
Yeah.
You want medicine in hospitals, but someone has to pay for it. So why would we then complain without playing our part, you know?
Okay, speaking of wavering, or I think you used that word.
It's a grace period. Well, this year there's no waiver. By the way, there's no waiver on rates.
At all?
There is no waiver. No.
If they don't pay...
Because it's unfair on the person who actually pays on time. Somebody has paid on time, you must pay by March. Somebody has paid on time, he has no penalty. You wait and say, oh, I know Sakaja will issue a waiver. There's no waiver. And we're going to enforce. You know, we'll clamp your buildings. If we have to, we'll collect rent on your behalf. We'll auction your property based on the value that you agreed on the valuation rule. And remember, Nairobi is the only county with an updated valuation rule in East Africa.
Okay.
The rest are in the 1980s. So let's
40 years.
Yeah, let's just pay our part.
Not too long ago, you had this dispute with KPLC.
Yes, because they have to pay also.
How much do they owe you?
Oh my goodness. They owe us around 4.8 billion. We owe them.
Since when?
Since
before your time?
Yes, before my time. It's old. It's an old debt because of way-leaves, you know. And the law talks about the way-leaves owed to counties. And they're doing two things. There's the way-leaves for power connection. The Energy Act 2019 then said, from 2019, they said that if you're to charge public energy infrastructure, you must get permission from the minister. Something I think is not legal, but anyway, it's a law. But all the bills before that, because no law acts retroactively or retrospectively, you know. But then there's something they're also doing now. There are people who used to pay us as a county to put fiber. They'd put fiber cables and they'd pay wages to the counties. Now they have said, put it on our poles because we are not paying the county, pay us. And they're not paying that's a commercial enterprise. That is not energy infrastructure. That's a commercial enterprise. You know.
Is that what you
so that's why if you walk outside here, Jeff, you will see a yellow cable, red, a green one, a blue one.
Yeah, you don't know which is which.
All these GTL, Safaricom, who not, and so they announce profits. They need to pay their part. You know.
Is that why you dumped a whole truck full of sewage right in front of KPLC headquarters?
I didn't. And I reprimanded the officers who did that. That was not right. We reprimanded. We addressed that. I think that was completely wrong. It should not have been done. The building can be clamped, yes. The law tells us, actually in that same act that I've read, that for any defaulter, you can cut off county services, which include water and sewer, you know, and we cut off the water, because look, we as a county, they claimed we owed them 3 billion. I said, okay, let's do a review, you know, let's do an analysis of that, a reconciliation. It moved from 3 billion to 1.5 billion, Jeff. because everything must have a meter, must have an account. And they both parties signed off. We found accounts in Turkana, the Nairobi County had been paying for. We found accounts in Kisii, in Kiambu, butcheries, businesses, that the city council and county government from the first one to the second one to the had been paying for. And I said, look, first remove those. It moved from 3 billion to 1.5, both have signed off. And I told them, okay, let's do a payment because I acknowledge the debt. But of course, I have to break it down. And they said, we'll pay you this amount every month on top of our current debt. There's no current debt that we've not paid. The current we always pay. So we said, okay, now that is done, you owe me 5.8 billion. What's up?
Yeah.
You also need to pay. Because it cannot be...
Have they paid, by the way?
No.
To this day?
Not a shilling. Not a shilling. Because it cannot be that you want counties to operate without resources. We're not magicians, Jeff. I think I wish I was. I just do that road is tarmac. It's money.
Wave the wand.
So the same way we pay them for the service they offer us, they need to pay us for the service we offer them. You know? And so we amicably resolved it. We sat down with the Minister for Energy, great man, Opi Wandai, Engineer Siror, the MD, who had gone to, in December, and I told him, my friend, because they had cut off power at City Hall. City Hall has no debt. This debt that I'm talking about, 1.5, is street lights. Street lights are a national security issue. If today they cut off all the street lights, Jeff, we will not have security in the city.
They could use solar panels.
Who are they?
Whoever is putting up these lights.
We put them up. The infrastructural cost of putting solar, Jeff, it's big.
But at the end,
we're looking at it on a PPP basis. But for now, so why would you switch off City Hall, whose meter has no bill, for a street light in Karen? Why is it in the tariff that we pay, there's a rural electrification component, and it's in the city? There must be equity. There must be equity. So yes, my officers went overboard, and I apologize to Kenyans because that is wrong. Your city should never do that to you. There's public health concerns. You know, that was completely terrible, and I suspect those officers, they're going through disciplinary processes. Ultimately, let everyone pay what they need to pay, you know. I mean, I don't use the lights at City Hall for my house. It's not my house. I'm not doing anything personal there. We're actually working for Nairobians. And so in December, I went and saw the MD and told him, boss, when you cut off that building, which has no debt, you cut it off because of now will be jolted, or you cut off hospitals with ICU, with machines, with life support. You cut it off because of a streetlight debt. What are you doing? We're government. If I said I'll pay you this every month and it delays because national exchequer money delays. Counties have only received money until February. We're in April. You know, let us all be just good people to each other.
Speaking of April, you are 4 months away before your third year in office.
Yes.
What's been the most challenging thing?
The most challenging thing being in office. First of all, let me tell you, this is the biggest honor of my life, serving the city I love and that I was born in. As a Nairobian, it's the most difficult but most fulfilling job I've ever done. When you see the smiles on the faces of patients receiving healthcare, there's a story of a man, 91 years old. We opened the first public eye hospital in Kenya. Public, you know. You know, we have Lions and Kikuyu. Those are not public. Those are, one is a church, another one is a club, you know, that Lions Club. There was this man, 91-year-old, who had been blind for 50 years. 50 years, blind.
Completely, I mean, just...
Blind. He regained his sight at Umoja 2, Annex, Mama Lucy. And he said he's not leaving the hospital. Because if he leaves, itaisha. You know? And then he started joking. He's telling his son, Kume, you're not this handsome. I thought you're more handsome. But that's just one story. Today, if you go there, it is full of people from all across the country coming to get... It's a full... I mean, we admit patients, they sleep there. We do surgeries. We manufacture spectacles. What we've done in healthcare. Nairobi had no ICU before I became governor. I opened 8 theaters in Mama Lucy 2 weeks ago. Pumwani has a neonatal ICU, pediatric. Mbagathi, the first neonatal ICU, is there. The strides we've made, and because I changed the governance structure, you see, most of our hospitals across the country are led by, and I have a lot of respect for doctors, but they're led by doctors, a medical superintendent, who is in charge of the hospital until level 5. I said, no, let's have CEOs. Someone who looks at the entire, from the gate, how does the place look like, how customer service, the supply chain issues, HR issues, the medical issues. Is there broken? What are the beds? So I got 5 CEOs. Mbagathi Hospital, I put Alex Irungu. He was hired competitively. He's transformed the place. Mbagathi, I have Martin Alfred Wekesa. Mama Lucy, Martin Alfred Wekesa. Superb job. Started the eye hospital in Umoja 2 Annex. Pumwani, Dr. Christine Kiteshuo. I think she has a PhD in hospital management. Mutwini, Frederick Obwanda. Just changing the governance structure alone and changing the boards without adding a shilling, just governance, has made a huge change. We have a small issue. I have an issue with the lower levels that we're working on now with SHA because of now, the supply chain issues, the drugs, etc., and we'll solve it. But that is an example of how leadership changes and transforms a place.
Speaking of drugs or medicines, there are some of those lower hospitals, level 2, level 3, level 4.
Yeah.
People have issues with getting the right medicine.
It's a problem across the country. It's something we've discussed at the summit at COG with the president. Because yes, KEMSA is owed money and agreed on a payment period, plan. But look, we owe KEMSA now, I think, 200 million. But NHIF owes us 800 million. I said, Simukate huko, give us the change. Because how do you want us to pay for KEMSA, yet we are paying based on the returns from NHIF, Yeah. And so that balancing will be done within government. Okay. And that is a major issue with the hospitals.
Again, I'll come back to the question I asked you, and you gave me a whole list of your successes, which is...
I've not yet given...
I know there's more.
Yeah.
Biggest one challenge, the biggest thing that kept you up at night.
In Nairobi, is the resourcing of the city.
It's resourcing.
That's the biggest challenge. Jeff, I'm in a class of 40 mayors and governors across the world. Bloomberg, Harvard. In that class, I'm the only one from Africa in this cohort. It's the 8th cohort of the Bloomberg, Harvard mayors, governors program. I sit with colleagues, and I can give you examples. Mayor Colorado Springs, Yemi, and tells me, look, he has a budget of $600 million US. What, 600 million? So how many
times 130?
How many people do you have? 100,000 people. I have 7 million people with less than half of that budget. The financing of devolution, and I'm very happy. Broad-based, the agreement said 450. But our own source revenue collection must go up. We have the potential to collect 60 billion, but everyone must pay up. And so when you enforce, someone sent me a message today and I really laughed and asked him, surely. Because at one point he says, please help us solve this issue of the road here. Governor, we believe in you, etc. Then he says, you've increased rates in Karen from 7,000 to 25,000. 25,000 a year for an acre. If you're renting it out, you're getting 300,000 a month, and you want services. There must be a balance. Something's got to give.
All right,
we're the only city in the world, capital, that charges rates on undeveloped site value. That is why 1 acre in Gidogoro, which is an informal settlement, is paying the same as an acre in Runda. It should not be the case. And so this next valuation round, let us pay for value. And let me tell you, I know my people in Nairobi. If they see the services, they see the streetlights, they see I was in Karen the other day and they're like, look, you've sorted out our roundabout. There used to be hawkers and matatus and, a lot of that. And you've given them a space and you've put, I love Karen. And now we're willing, it makes sense. You're giving us services. You're seeing streetlights. You did Ngong Road from that place up until junction. Once we give services, because it's about services, we collect money to serve. Not for any other reason. That's why we collect the money.
Governor, I want to take a break, come back, talk about a stinking city.
Which one?
This one. No. Garbage everywhere. You're in denial now.
I'm not. Denial is a river that starts from Lake Victoria.
Ends up in Egypt.
Ends up in Egypt.
Yes.
We'll discuss that. And I'll tell you the plan we have. We have Green Nairobi Limited.
Yeah.
Because you must sort out the governance structure and ring fencing the money.
Perfect.
Yes.
Governor Bay, that's another thing they call you.
That's Monica's.
What a conversation, folks. This is in real time, and I know you have your questions and comments for Governor Johnson Sakaja. What are you waiting for, folks? Sakaja Johnson. Call it. Keep tweeting at Koinange GFI Citizen TV. The hashtag is JK Live. JK Live takes a break with the Dimple Man.
I know. Who is that?
JK Live, powered by. Unlock your horizons with our payments and collections, vehicle and asset financing, unsecured bid bonds, and so much.
Is a challenge in many urban areas. It's a big challenge because there are not solutions for circular economy. It's a huge logistical enterprise. And in Nairobi, over many years, it became a commercial enterprise. And so you have all these companies being paid to take garbage to the final disposal site, which is Dandora, based on the weight, but not based on how clean the areas are given. Wow. And so we thought about it. I commissioned some research onto it. And we said, look, the problem that we have is, number one, you have not ring-fenced resources, because there's three things you must do to clean a city. I've sat with the mayor of Addis, Adenach. I've looked at Lagos. I've looked at London. I've looked at Cape Town and Johannesburg, where they have Pick It Up Company. Lagos has Lagos Waste Management Authority. And there are many examples. Number one, you need manpower. You need actual people cleaning the streets, sweeping, picking up the trash. When I became governor, the last time that environmental officers had been employed in Nairobi was in the 80s. 80s. And so you find an entire constituency with 3 people, 4 people. You know, if you look at like Westlands, for instance, all the way from Karura to Kangemi, coming down almost to the CBD, 4 elder ladies in charge. Embakasi East constituency, Utawala, Mihango, Upper Savannah, Lower Savannah, Donholm, all of those places. But I think 6 women in their 50s to clean it. What did I do? I hired the Green Army. So now we had the manpower. And the manpower was available to clean. And I'm sure if you live in this city, you've seen those kids with their overalls, cleaning and, sweeping, picking up the garbage. Number 2, equipment. There had not been investment in proper equipment by the city. When I was growing up in this city, we saw what we called Camero that would come every Tuesday and Thursday, and we had bins, NCC bins, that you knew you take out your trash on this day, and the council will come and pick it up. And we had those, skips, in our estates. I was here just in Gara. The first year, I bought 24 tippers. The second year, I bought 27 refuse compactors. I've increased the fleet, almost 3-fold to bridge the equipment gap. So you have trucks and you have people. So you have equipment and the people. The third is the logistics around it. And so what happens is that when it's a department in the city, you are relying on revenue because you must fuel the trucks. They don't run on air. You must buy spare parts. You must pay those salaries. Now, when exchequer delays, and I gave you the example, counties have last got money in February. The on-source revenue, which I've told you only 20% are paying, where does it go to? To pay salaries. I've picked up the trash. Today in my group, one of my WhatsApp groups of old boys of a very good school, formerly called the Duke of York.
That's right. You remember that?
Yes. And in that group, I see someone, John Ojara, posted about the hips of what has been cleared from the drainage on the side of the road.
Correct.
Of course, you must let it dry a bit, because if you just pile it in the truck, the weight is too much with the water, But he says, look, it'll rain and it'll go back in. Because when on-source revenue has not come in, what happens? You can't fuel the trucks. So you have trucks that are not fueled and you have kids cleaning the streets. How do you sort that out? By creating an entity that ring fences the resources to do that. That is why we have a company called Nairobi Water. Nairobi Water Company, Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company, was formed by City Council of Nairobi out of the water department in the city, because the needs had outgrown being managed in that structure of the council. And so you have a company with a CEO, with a board, with its own resources, with its own budget, but it's audited. It's a private company owned by a public entity, which is the county government of Nairobi. And that's what we have done. We've set up Green Nairobi Limited that will have its own board. I'm going to announce the board in a few days. I want a proper, open, transparent recruitment process of the board members, people who have knowledge on circular economy, on recycling, on waste to energy, on logistics, on IT. It'll have its CEO, it'll have its resources, and it'll have, remember, back in the day, Jeff, I know, anyway, if I say back in the day, you'll go back to the 30s or 40s. Back in the day, remember your water bill had a component for the environment.
Correct.
And so you are paying for your garbage by paying for water. That is what we are introducing. That every Nairobian, through paying for their water, will be paying a percentage, around 10%, we're discussing with WASREP, will go into sorting out
the garbage.
Because today, Nairobians, you pay for your own security, you pay for your own bowser for water, you pay for your own garbage. What is the city doing for you? So we're taking that up. Now the company might and will contract, private contractors to some extent to increase the capacity. I've signed a waste to energy deal for Dandora to produce 45 megawatts of power. China National Electric and Engineering Company in Dandora dam site. We're concluding the negotiations with EPRA on what we call the tariff of how much the power will be. Just that signing is giving me another 200 trucks. Because you must solve the problem practically, So it's not something to wish away. Oh, I wish you could just collect the garbage. Yes, you need the people and the equipment. Nairobi never had that. It never had that. And so very soon, I promise you my target. And if this I don't do, don't re-elect me. Don't. I don't need to come back in office. This city is going to be clean, sparkling clean. But those things must be done. And they take some time to be done. And so we'll have the board. We have done the logistics. We're setting up the plant in Dandora. We're setting up the headquarters of this company in Kangundo Road. People asked, why are we seeing a company set up and we're seeing individuals' names as shareholders? This is Sakaja's company. You want to be a contractor. This company, first of all, will not be paid by Nairobi County. Number two,
who's going to pay them?
The public and those who receive their services. But number two, county governments are corporate entities. When Nairobi Water was set up, the shareholders were three. One, City Council of Nairobi. And I can give you the documents. Number two, Joe Akech, the mayor. Number three, Mr. Mbugwa, the town clerk. They hold that position in trust for the people, in trust for the city. But they have one share, and the county has 98 shares. Today, the shareholders of Nairobi, if it was called of Nairobi Water, if it was called an AGM, it's just three of us. Because it's the county government, the governor of Nairobi, I'm a shareholder, the CEC for Green Nairobi, Maureen Jerry, and the county secretary. One share and 98% shares by the county government. So it's not because the Business Registration Service, BRS, at the Attorney General's office, recognizes individuals. So a corporate entity is a person. You know that. A business is a person. And so is an individual. And so people are trying to, politics, man. Who are trying to bring politics and say, oh, now I put my cronies. Am I that dumb, surely? I doubt. To create a company to make no, I want to clean the city. Jeff, you know how old I am.
Yeah, you just
I just turned 40 in February.
You just entered the fourth floor.
I'm too young to retire. I will not do such a stupid thing. I will clean the city. I'll sort it out. The same way we've done marvelously on school feeding. 316,000 children today eating every single day at 5 shillings. Built 17 central kitchens. They have done on healthcare with all these ICUs, with the theaters, with the drugs, sorting out and creating and building more hospitals is what we'll do to clean. Because cleaning a city is the one thing that is not about any class, social class. The wealthy and the poor want a clean city, want a clean environment, want to be proud of their capital. You know, I want to add this the other
Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Input, especially when it comes to extracurricular activities. I was in high school. Our music teacher wasn't a school teacher. He's a choir master for our neighboring church. So he came to school specifically for preparing us for the national, for music festival. So this issue of Malala is a stranger. The girls are not safe with Malala. From where? Haya, naambieni masuala yenu. Ruto is fighting everyone. Sasa hii ni generation alpha, si atakozana na mtu jameni. Huyo ni innocent anasema hivyo. So I think he's ready to fight everybody because I think he's fighting with his shadow, and he seems not to be sure of anything. And that to me is very bad, that we are being led by somebody who doesn't appreciate what is happening, and he also seems to be, caught up with the kasumba kwamba lazima apate second term. Mimi sioni ulazima wa kuwa second term. Second term inahitajika kama mtu ako na projects haja complete. Okay? Ako na project, alikuwa ameanzisha miradi mizuri ambayo inasaidia wananchi. Hii miradi inahitaji yeye kumalizia. Basi sasa kwa sababu wamama wanatibiwa bure na alikuwa bado anatengeneza hii universal health care, alafu watoto wako shule, walimu wa kutosha, madarasa ni ya kutosha, na alikuwa amefungua madarasa mengine kuanzisha kujenga na hajamaliza. Hiyo ndio sababu ya kutafuta second term. Au utafuti second term kwa sababu umemaliza 5 years? So what is it that Ruto has done that he has not finished that we wish to add him another 5 years to finish? Show me one thing. No, tuangalie hii katiba yetu pia. Kwa sababu maneno ya 2 terms is not a guarantee. It is on condition that you win elections in the second term. And like Biden, ukiona mambo yamezidi unga, you don't contest second term, unawacha mtu mwingine. Sivyo? So mimi hii lazima wa Wakenya kwanza kusema miaka 10 bila break na hiyo mambo ingine yote siwaelewi kabisa, kwa sababu hakuna mahala katika katiba inasema lazima mtu apate second term. Hakuna. Na tumekupa pana magavana wengi tu walipoteza second term. Wangamati, one of them. Siaya amerudi anasema yeye ni Naskoko, and that is Greek. We'll talk about that later. So it is important that we deal with the matters rightly. Now mtu aliuliza swali vizuri jana, akasema kama Malala ni stranger kwa Butere Girls, and and Duale is the Minister for Health. Is Duale a doctor?
So Duale is also a stranger in the Ministry of Health. Duale hapaswi kukanyaga afya center kwa sababu afya house kwa sababu is not a doctor. Masuala ya health yajiwe madaktari, kama wanataka drama na nyimbo na hiyo masuala yote yajiwe nini? Walimu peke yake. So tukubaliane. So uwe unachukua Duale ambaye mimi sijui amesomea sijui political science sijui nini, unamfanya minister for health. Okay? Na uko hayuko stranger, lakini Malala akienda kufundisha wimbo na drama kwa shule unasema yeye si mwalimu kwa hivyo afai. What standards are those? Well, let's engage, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for those numbers that are swelling as we continue with this conversation. Na bado na kuhimiza kama unakuja studio njoo ukaseme mambo haya ili tukaelewane. Lakini William Ruto na masuala yake yanatisha. Ukweli ni kwamba yanatisha kwa sababu tuna uongozi hapa ambao unaacha mambo mengi ambayo yanatatiza. It leaves you desiring more that you don't get answers to, and of course the higher expectations are only met with disappointment, and Kenyans are now feeling orphaned, feeling abandoned, and that's not a good feeling to have, especially when you need a country that is productive, a country that is self-sufficient, a country that is motivated. The reason why even Kenyans are falling prey to all the scams about international jobs and working in foreign countries is because of this particular situation. You look at the way the president is talking, you look at the way politicians are talking, you look at the way they are telling you they have done this, they have finished this, they have done this, they are finished, but you can't feel it, you can't see it, you can't experience it. And so you get delusioned because, you just want out of this place. And in the process, you fall into wrong hands about people promising you to get elsewhere and find a job. So I really need as Kenyans to refuse to be carried about and, demand what is rightfully ours by reason of the same. So I want us to address the silence of Ruto and Raila on the issue of a cause of war. Okay, somebody has given an analysis here. He says today there was a cause of silence on the matter of a cause of war by Raila Odinga, not talking about the same. What does that signify? And in my opinion, I don't think is that Baba doesn't care, but I think he needed to focus on the one thing, and that is deal with the send-off of his long-serving aide. And then I think by tomorrow or the day after, on Monday, there should be an official communication on this matter. Baba close to his heart, the liberties.
Lala, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well now. Yes.
Welcome. We are listening to the Bena's views, and then also we heard a lot earlier. I would like to just brief you, then we hear from you.
To listen, so I don't know the subject that well. So I was kind of occupied somewhere. I just joined in. So
Then that's why I want to brief you about this. I want to brief you, then you will get it on.
Okay.
Okay, we speak about the story of IEBC, the analyzation, and this is what's going on IEBC, and I want you to check out this so that you can have the clear what you are speaking of.
7 more candidates gunning for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commissioner IEBC appeared before the selection panel today, defending their suitability for the top electoral body job. Former IEBC corporate manager Tabitha Mutemi, who was among the interviewees, said she will bank on her 12-year experience at the commission serving as a corporate communication official to better the electoral agency. Others who appeared before the selection panel include Tobiko Naisiae, Simeon Muket, Solomon Muntet, Stephen Kiambi and Sylvia Ndanu. The interviews are set to close tomorrow after a rigorous 1-month vetting period for both the IEBC chairperson and commissioner's positions.
For a fact that elections management is not only a very lonely field, but it could as well be a death to someone's career. I'm aware of the fact that as a commissioner, or indeed any elections manager, your fidelity has got to be to nothing else and no one else other than the Constitution and the people of Kenya.
And I just want to assure you and to promise you, should you give me this position, I will exercise my duty with the highest degree of care, skill and diligence. I will bring honor to this country and to the office that I will be serving.
Majority of us is, what am I going to get from the job? But what will the job get from me? The knowledge I have, the experience I have, is what I give to the job.
I see a point of maybe creating an endowment fund with IEBC, where like-minded people can contribute to it with friends of IEBC, like this election panel.
That's what's going on with the IEBC. Do you feel like this needs some changes, or is it like that and then we're going to go work with that? Lala, can you hear me? Hey,
Can you
Lala.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah, now Sven. Well, I think I was having technical issues here. I didn't get the last bit of what was happening, but this is to do with the IEBC commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. It's all about IEBC commissioners.
I think Kenyans develop very skeptical attitude towards anything. I'm sure kuna watu ambao wamejitolea kufanyia, nchi kazi. They are moved because of the failures of the past. So I'm sure they're among them. But there are others that purely is about money. There's a good money there that, of course, all of them have to live. But I'm also sure there are those that really are there but quite scared. So the skepticism is there. The other thing that I think is important, which is the most important thing, is that when confidence is lost in a body like IEBC, its legitimacy is gone, because whatever it does, nobody believes in. I've heard people talk, especially the presidential level, that Matiang'i is the candidate for the outside world, those who always win, and that is the West with interest in Africa, resources and all that, and that's the one which always wins. So Matiang'i is already in. Doesn't matter what you do. And there are those that see Maraga as the candidate to the people. He will get the votes, but at the end of the day, he will not go in there, even though people believe he's honest and they want that honesty. But honesty is not needed, because Maraga may say no to some of these forces outside the country. Okay, And then there are others that believe Ruto is already, stolen the election. So what the IEBC is going to do there is simply to do a coronation of already decided, a bygone, election. So in that case, IEBC relevancy is really not there. They are just there to come something that got to be there. Simama pale ili tuone kuna IEBC to kind of legitimize the illegitimacy, So it doesn't matter how faithful people are, what kind of integrity they have, because in my mind, most Kenyans' mind, Cherera 5-4 were the correct one. They did what they had to do, and people believe them. So when you can't even correct the wrong, you can't put them back to the office and do the right thing. If this so-called government or whatever new one, if they were really genuine, I think the first thing could have been to restore those people and apologize to them because they tried to do the right thing. We know things went wrong. So to me, I've got no confidence in a body like this, unless other things are done, unless people know the truth, unless Kenyans are comfortable with what's going on there, or else we're doing the same thing we have done in the past. It will be just the same. People are going to die, wrong people are going to be elected, corruption is going to continue, nothing is going to happen. That is the way I look at it. Unless things happen inside, which of course Baba stepped in there. Hopefully he has certain magic that will do certain things, but so far we don't see much change in Ruto, and so we are waiting to see what that outcome is, because some of us are very skeptical, but we are waiting. We trust Baba. We know he has been there for us, and we know we trust him, but we question the wisdom of what's really going on at this moment. So my position at this moment is IEBC is being organized there, but I think just to manage the system the way it is, with no fundamental changes, with the same thing that we've done before, in the name of election, yet we don't have it. In the name of democracy, we don't have it. We may say we are better than others, like Uganda and others, but when you look deeper, actually we may be worse than Uganda. We may be worse than Uganda because Uganda, as a central point, they know this man has all the power. This man is the constitution itself. Kenya pretends to have something they don't have. So people are told you have good freedom. You go out there, then you're abducted, you're gone. So we are in danger. So let's not be proud that we are free. We're able to talk and tell the president this and that. The question is what happened underneath, and that's where the problem comes in. So that's my statement. I didn't hear exactly what they said, but these guys can go look for jobs, but those are just jobs. They mean nothing, very little. They will help the timetable, the calendar to go on, but at the end of the day, the results are the same. So it's like an exam. You're going to do exam, but already you know who's going to win, who's going to like a fixed match. Referees are being compromised, and the outcome of the match doesn't matter how much you do. And in fact, I think American wrestling actually is the best example. Kenyans, we all went to watch American wrestling. We left the British, free wrestling, which was artistry, skills and everything else. The winner is a winner. And we love the American because it was entertainment. You know who's going to win, you know who's going to lose, and it's choreographed that way. And we think we are watching a match when actually we're just watching an entertainment. Nothing like a match. It's not a sport. It's entertainment. Wrestling, American wrestling is entertainment. It's not a match. They don't really fight. And that's exactly what we have in Kenya when it comes to election. Nothing called election is taking place. Everything has been arranged. And I'm sorry to say that. That's the reason why people are dying. That's why our people are starving. Our women are getting raped in Saudi Arabia because their will is not, nobody take is care of them. Nobody cares about their future. They are busy trying to win election, supposedly win, make the money, take care of themselves, and nobody cares for the masses, Kenyans, and they have to fight on their own. And so when you are in Saudi Arabia, wherever you are on your own. No wonder we are having such kind of a response from those countries, because nobody follows up on us, because your name does not count. You are just a number, okay? But Kenyans must know that other countries, they put value, especially where I am, on their people, on the value of a human life. Gari Kugonga, look at what will happen. They just don't let it go. And Kenya, ukigonga na gari, you're at the mercies of some of those insurers may not even pay. The people, they just disappear, they bribe everybody, so they don't care. Here, I'm telling you, there's a company, a huge multi-billion-dollar company, and few women sued them, okay? Just few women, and they bankrupt the company. The company went under because the Dow Corning, they were making breast implant for women, and there was some leakage, and because there's a leakage, the company went bankrupt. Just a lawsuit. So the value of human life is value, but in Kenya, no. Kama una pesa, kama we mtoto wa nani fulani, kama we mtoto wa Muturi, they look for you. Lakini kama we ni mtu kama mimi chini huko, you live like a bird. And I say that all the time. I come home, you drive on the countryside, unaona nyumba wale watu wanaishi, kama birds. There's no difference between birds and human beings. Look at the way they live, and do the government care after all these years since independence? Do we have money to take care of that? No, the money, yes, we have the money, but the money is going to the helicopters, to those 8-cylinder vehicles. They make more money than Congress people here, okay? In the US, our Kenyan Congress, parliamentarians make more money than their counterparts here in the US, okay? When actually you think about the Kenyan economy is about 30, at the most, maybe 30 billion US dollars. When Ohio, one of the states in the U.S., among the 50th state, and one of the members of the 50th state, just a state like Ohio, economy is over 700 billion, almost up there. Okay, that tells you something. When you look at a small university, or just a hospital, like the clinic, the GDP is higher. The budget is higher than the country's budget, and yet Kenyan parliamentarians and others, live large. They live like their counterpart in the West, when actually, they are the common person does not even can't afford a meal, can't afford to go to the hospital, can't afford anything. So yes, they need that IEBC to protect them. Those are just places, people to protect their interest. No one is interested in you as Kenyan. So the more you organize, the more you think together, bring your thoughts together. Don't worry about whether it's from north, east, or south. We are all Kenyans. Let us do it together, because the resources are there to take care of all of us. So IEBC to me is I've got no confidence in IEBC unless we change certain, some things within our system to make it believable. So that's my contribution, and thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Today I have a lot of questions for you, and I want to engage you seriously because I want to notify before we go home. Also, there's this scenario that has happened today, and I want to speak it as perspective as a pastor because we haven't forgotten about the story about the Shakahola part, and other people are still mourning about the story that happened during the Shakahola time, and this one comes again. I want you to see this, and then you give me your response towards this.
TV.
There was drama at Rongo Police Station in Migori County after 57 faithful of Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church refused to go home, insisting that they can only return to their church where 2 members reportedly perished after refusing to seek medical attention. The County Commissioner Mutua Kielu revealing that there were registration anomalies while setting up the facility, which remains cordoned off by authorities undertaking investigations amid reports of cult-like activities associated with the church.
57 congregants of the Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church are spending the night at the Rongo Police Station for the second successive night. The faithful have refused to go home, insisting they will only know of one residence, Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church in Rongo, Migori County.
If you talk to them, they would rather be together and die together.
The standoff causing 8 children to be transferred to nearby rescue centers.
We are going now to use the law that correctly expresses what they are doing, because they have gone beyond the radicalization.
As the 57 members who also refused to be medically examined on Tuesday stay put, some residents went to search for the missing kin who they say have been separated from their families for close to a decade since being recruited at Melchior St. Joseph's Missions of Messiah Africa Church.
Waliomba wakaomba mpaka ikafika wakati Otieno Toyo na Nyango mke wake wakapeana mwanao wa kwanza kiume kama msaada kwa kanisa hiyo. Bado tulikuwa tunatafuta polepole, sababu hatujaona kaburi chake na hatujaona dalili yoyote ya kuonyesha kwamba alikufa.
Ananiambia yeye ako kanisani anaomba. Sasa nashindwa, najiuliza, sasa hiyo ni Jerusalem gani yenye wako hapo? Yenye iko hapo?
Nilipoteza mtoto wangu 2017. Sijapata mtoto. Nilikaa mwaka mmoja kama sijapata mtoto, nikapata Dalmas Otieno kama alichukua mtoto wangu. Wakanyidoto.
St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church remains shut, with police patrolling its surroundings after bodies of 2 members who reportedly perished due to sickness were found. It has also emerged that the registration procedures used to set up Melchior St. Joseph Missions of Messiah Africa Church were altered.
The church is not registered because the certificate we got was a Company Act incorporation, which we can share with the media. That means that either by, and we can't assume that it was just by coincidence, somebody must have known what they are doing. They not register a society, they register a company. A company has to have articles of association. We must know the directors are. So we are pursuing all those grounds.
No arrests have been made so far in relation to the deaths which reportedly occurred inside the church premises, amid fears that this could turn out to be a replica of the Shakahola findings.
This is what's happened again once more time. I want to hear your view about that.
Shadizo, it's very, very, very sad. Very sad, and I look at it in 2 ways, where I see failures on 2 sides. The side of the church and the side of the government. The role of the government is to protect Kenyans. And when you protect people, you're protecting them physically, emotionally, psychologically, all areas primarily. And there are cases or there are areas where you need guidance as a government. For example, when they come to church, the government should be able to understand the doctrine of that church, able to know what is going on there. And that can be done through the church itself. In other words, the church can supervise itself. You see, there are two main bodies of church in Kenya. We have the National Evangelicals, and then we have what do you call it? The main one, the Kenyan NCCK. Okay, those are two bodies. One is more conservative, which is the evangelical. Then the other one is more towards more liberal, which in Kenya, those ones really don't exist as much. But those bodies are there for that purpose, to advise the government and to advise the churches themselves. That's why in those bodies you have members from some of these churches to represent, the views of that particular church. And so that body is the right body to advise the government. So they work in collaboration with the government. If they are infiltrating or they are watching groups of people, if you have a church, the government should be able to know what is going on there. And they can use bodies like NCCK and others to kind of help monitor what is going on there. We don't want a situation where things are politicized, but professionally, there are things that can be done to make sure that, first of all, the vulnerable are protected. Okay, I hold a license as a psychotherapist, as a clinician, as a minister. My role as a clinician, a psychology board, or counseling board, or social worker board requires me, if I'm walking somewhere and I saw child abuse and I don't report it, my license may be taken away from me. Even if I'm there, I didn't even, was not part of the treatment. But my role is to protect. In other words, these guidelines taken from the human rights, framework. Okay, so churches, see if this church has been going on for a long, long time. I would ask, where was the church? Where was those church bodies? Where was the government to understand what's going on here? First of all, children are to be protected. So what they are taught is also something that the government should be able to monitor. Okay, if, for example, in the U.S., I can have my children home and I teach them from home, it's allowed, but I have to go to the Ministry of Education and show them the curriculum. They got to approve it. Okay, that's the only way children can stay at home. In other words, they are at home, but they are following the guidelines, the curriculum that is acceptable. They are sure things are okay. So there is a guideline there. But in Kenya, it's what I was talking about. It's like, you see, government's not interested in what's going on in the life of the children and the vulnerable. They are not. The only time they are interested is if you talk bad about the government. It's that one, they are there, they'll hear you. They will arrest you. But if a child is being abused, if people are dying in a mission, shakaholas are happening, that is a failure of the government, but also a failure of these bodies to work with the government so that they can monitor, they can help, they can work with these churches doctrinally and practices. They can advise the government, and yet these churches can remain independent, autonomous. That's perfectly fine, because we don't want the government to control the church. But when it comes to protecting lives, it is the duty of the government. So when they're out there, yes, they have been indoctrinated. It's a cultic, beliefs. I think there's a need now for professionals, psychologists, and Christian counselors and other faith leaders to step in and try to reason with them. And if they can't be reasoned with, then I think government has to take steps, and remove the children, especially. And those who prefer to stay there, can stay there, but certain guidelines have to be followed clearly, because you don't want to be a Shakahola, another Shakahola, where crime is being done. If it is a crime, the law has to take its effect, okay, on that situation like that. So that is my simple understanding of what's going on. This is the first time I looked at that clip, and it's very disturbing, because that's not far away from where I come from. I come from that part of the world, and it's very sad. Yeah. And it looked like it is an offshoot of Leyo Maria, because I see Melchio, who should be the picture of Ondeto there, and it is nice, because even the Ondeto, Leyo Maria, there was a time they were quite extreme some years back, but they started adapting and changing, okay, because there was a good relationship, and they were actually moving back to the mainstream. We've even had Israel, and we even have these Corinos. One of them is a professor here, and there's some good things happening on the inside, but you have to engage them. There has to be some form of understanding, so that they are not driven to the extreme, and then they do things like this. Back to you, Shadiza.
Thank you. Thank you for that submission. I'm seeing Jacinto has join us. Jacinto, how are you?
Sijambo, nipo ingawaje sisikii vizuri sana lakini nipo naendelea kupata nafuu. Sasa mimi nasema namwambia Lala Pastor kwamba mimi hizo vitu sikubaliani. Nashangaa sana ukisema eti serikali isiingilie mambo ya kanisa. Hao watu vile nimewaona, hao watu wanatakiwa wapelekwe jela. Hao watu wapelekwe jela. Kama mimi ningekuwa na uwezo ningewapeleka jela, kwa sababu hiyo ni upuzi. Ndio maana nasema hizi vitu ambavyo tumekubali kuingia kwa kwetu, kutupa mila zetu, kuingia kwa mila za watu, hizi vitu zitakuja kutumiza. Mnaona wanakataa dawa, na yet Mungu mwenyewe aliumba dawa kwa sisi. Hizi majani si alituumbia chakula? Mungu ndiye alitupatia kwamba hizi chakula na hizo madawa tukila, kama tunasikia hata ng'ombe, hata kuku, kama nani unamuona anauma majani, kila mtu Mungu alimpatia uwezo wa kuweza kujitibu. Sasa sisi tumepewa madawa, hawa wanakataa dawa. Unaona, hiyo ni laziness. Hiyo kitu nasemaga ni kutokuwa mtu ambaye anataka kufanya kazi, kwa sababu Mungu amekwambia uende, alafu wewe unaenda pale kuomba, ati mnaomba Mungu wetu utapona, na Mungu amekwambia kuna dawa hapo kwa msituni hapo kuna dawa. Unaenda unachukua tawi fulani, unakula, unapona. Hivyo ndivyo hizi madawa hizi ni Mungu alitutengenezea, haikutengenezwa na mtu mwingine. Hizi madawa ziko my grandmother, kama sisi tulikuwa tunasikia ati unaumwa na tumbo au unasikia mwili namna gani, anaenda tu ingia mahali kwa nani namna hii, anakusanya vitu, anakuja anachemsha, anakupatia, unakunywa, uko mzima. Hizo ni vitu Mungu ametengeneza. Sasa sisi hizo vitu tunakataa, tunasema ati tunaomba Mungu. Unamuomba Mungu namna gani? Amekupatia kitu ya kunywa alafu upone. Sasa hizo vitu kama hizo mimi naona hiyo ni upuuzi. Mimi singeweza kuwa na hawa watu, wanatakiwa wachukuliwe hatua ya kisheria kabisa, wawekwe jela, wawekwe rumandi kabisa, ndio wajue serikali haitaki mchezo na vitu kama hiyo wa upuuzi. Watu wamekufa hapo, alafu bado tunataka kusema ati tusichukue sheria. Hao watu wanatakiwa wachukuliwe hatua kabisa, na serikali iseme hawataki kitu kama hiyo, hawataki watu kama hao. Ndio maana nasema hizi madini hakuna mahali mimi sioni kitu zimeleta, zimevunja vitu zetu zote. Zimetuvunja vitu zetu zote, zinatuambia hata majina zetu ni mbaya sisi wenyewe. Ukiangalia kwa makini hakuna kitu inatusaidia nayo. Ni kama tu saa zingine unajiuliza, unasema tusome, tuwe na elimu, alafu mtu akishasoma huyo mtu mwenye elimu anaiba, anaua watu, anatesa watu wake. Sasa unajiuliza alienda kusoma kufanya nini? Hii ndio maana nasema tumefanya nini? Tumeiga vitu ambavyo hatujui. Tunasema hata tuwe na demokrasi, sijui nini. Na demokrasia hiyo iko wapi? Tukiwa na demokrasia, mbona tunaiba kura, tunaua watu wetu ovyo ovyo? Unataka president, hata kama umeshindwa unataka kukalia na nguvu. Sasa hiyo demokrasia ambayo mnasema kama hawa wazungu wao, akishindwa ama akiona watu wanalalamika, anaondoka, ana resign, anajua watu hawataki. Lakini watu wetu wanasema wako na demokrasia, na hata watu wakiprotest wakisema utoke, sisi ufanyi kazi vizuri, bado tunakataa tu. Wao wanakataa, wanasema mimi nimechaguliwa na demokrasia. Sasa hiyo wapi demokrasia hiyo yao? Sisi tumeacha zile njia ambayo tulikuwa tukijiongoza nazo, kwa sababu mtu alikuwa hawezi tu kupewa, ati mtu anakuja tu anapewa uongozi. Kama sasa mtu anakuja tu anapewa uongozi eti ni demokrasi, na mtu ni mwizi, mtu si mtu mwema. Na hawa wazungu hawafanyi hivyo. Wanachunguza na wanachuja kabisa. Unachunguzwa mpaka wakati ulikuwa kijana mdogo ulikuwa unafanya nini? Sisi sasa hatufanyi hivyo, tumechukua tu kiholela ati basi hizi vitu zote ni mambo ya kuiga. Hizi mambo ya kuiga bado zitatuletea shida tu, kwa sababu kila kitu tunafanyiwa na watu wengine, hatufanyi sisi wenyewe. Hatufanyi. Kila kitu lazima tuombe mtu mwingine atufanyie. So sasa kama hao watu wanasema ati wanaomba, ati Mungu ndio wanaomba, ati wana imani. Sasa mbona imani hiyo haijawasaidia? Mbona wanakufa tu? Hata polisi ati anapatikana amekufa hapo na hakuna investigation inafanywa vizuri. Jamani, mimi kwa maoni yangu, hao watu wanatakiwa wachukuliwe hatua maalum. Ile upande wa au commissioners ambao wanataka kuwa election commissioner, mimi nasema hao watu, kusema kweli, sioni nani yoyote kwa hao watu, kwa sababu mimi bado ninashangaa wakati Maraga alipata kwamba commissioner walikuwa wamefanya makosa ya kufanya nini, ya uchaguzi, haikufanywa vizuri. Lakini jambo la ajabu, mimi mpaka sasa bado inanishinda. Mbona huyo mtu ambaye aliongoza huo uchaguzi vibaya bado yeye ndio bado anateuliwa kuendelea, na yeye amefanya vibaya? Inatakikana mtu kama huyo, kama unaona, hawa ndio maana hawa watu wanatushinda, kwa sababu huyu jamaa marehemu sasa angejiuzulu siku hiyo. Hangefanya, kama angekuwa mzungu hangerudia, angejiuzulu, kwa sababu angeona amefanya makosa. Alafu wale watu wanapatikana na makosa hawadhibiwi, hakuna hawadhibiwi. So hawa watu nimeona kwenye habari kwamba vile wanasema watafanya ni upuzi mtupu. Wanasema tu ikifika saa hiyo hawatakuwa na hiyo, sijui labda, lakini vile nimeona watu wengi sana wa Kenya wanapenda kusema hivyo, na ikifika saa wanatakiwa waonyeshe ujuzi, hawaonyeshi. Asante sana.
Asante Jacinto Bay for that contribution too, and I appreciate for everyone that is watching. Please let us like the video, let us subscribe if the first time coming across the channel as we are rolling down, and it will be good. Lala, do you have any response to Jacinto Bay? I think Lala is not getting me well. I hope everything is fine to say Lala's side. Jacinto Bay tumeona hiyo swala, na kuna hili swala pia tena Jacinto Bay nataka ulitazame vizuri. Kuna swala lingine ambalo nimelizungumzia hapa ambalo familia moja imepoteza watu 9, na baadaye unakuta kuna zile mtafaruko na serikali inaingilia kati kutaka kujua ni nini kiini hasa. Kanda na hilo, kuna hii familia nyingine imepoteza mpendo wao na kwa njia ya kutatanisha kidogo. Na baadaye huyo msichana anateta kwamba alienda kwa maaskari, walikataa kumsaidia, wakamwambia lazima aje na ndugu yake hata ikiwa ameumia vibaya kwa amekimbizwa hospitalini. Nataka utazame hii video alafu kisha tuweze kutoa maoni yetu tukijaribu kumalizia.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us here on JKL. A family in Nyanduma, Githunguri, the county of Kiambu, is in pain after their kin was attacked, sodomized and left for dead. The distraught family say that they have not received much help from the police despite reporting the incident that has left everyone in the village worried and shocked. Here is our reporter, Franklin Wala.
Wednesday evening activities are in top gear at the home of Joel Ngugi in Nyanduma, Githunguri sub-county, ahead of Ngugi's burial on Thursday. Ngugi, a 43-year-old man, met his untimely death on Thursday last week in the hands of unknown criminals. The man reportedly left home for a nearby shopping center but never returned. The following day, his family was alerted that Ngugi had been seen in the same area but in a sorry state. According to Ngugi's sister, his brother was allegedly waylaid by unknown people as he walked home the very same evening around 8 p.m. He was taken to a nearby bush where he was assaulted and sodomized, his attackers leaving him for the dead.
Bado alikuwa na uchungu mingi na alikuwa ananiambia huku kuna uma anataka maji. Mimi wakati nilimpea maji, hiyo maji unampea yote inatoka.
Upon the discovery, his family tried seeking medical attention in a nearby Karatina Model Health Facility. Here, Ngugi did not receive urgent medical attention as nurses insisted on having the matter reported first to the police. This forced his sister to rush to Nyanduma police station and file a formal police report. At the station, Margaret Nduta recalls how police officers dismissed her request to report the matter unless she was in the company of the patient. Having received no help, Margaret rushed back to Karatina Health Facility to pick her brother and have the matter reported. Unfortunately, Ngugi died moments after being served with an OB number.
Huyo brother yangu akililetwa hapa hata kuwa uhai. Niandikie tu OB ndio ndio brother yangu nione kama nitamuokoa. Akasema acha nikuitie mkubwa. Wakati mkubwa alikuja, akasema mimi siwezi kukuandikia OB kwa sababu hiyo mambo ni mara ya kesi mingi iko huko. Huyo polisi akaniambia hii kesi iko. Sasa enda ulete huyo kijana nimuone. Nikajaribu kumwambia hali yake hata gari kumbigilisha hawezi fika hapa.
Even as they embarked on preparing for Ngugi's burial, the family began pursuing justice into what had happened before their kin's deaths. An autopsy would confirm the deceased was sodomized, broken ribs and injuries systematic with blunt force trauma. This was his cause of death, but those who had committed the crime were nowhere to be found. Ngugi will be buried on Thursday at his village as locals try to comprehend what happened, fearing for their lives since such crimes have become rampant in the area. Family hopes that the police will expedite investigations by not only arresting perpetrators of these horrendous acts, but also putting in place deterrent measures. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
Lakini that what has happened today also, I want to hear from you. What is it as we're summing up?
Sasa hiyo kitu nilizungumzia juzi kwamba inatakikana unaona sasa tumeishaingilia tumeacha ile nyumba 10. Tungekuwa na ulinzi ile ya zamani ya nyumba 10, kila mtu mnajua vitu vingine kama hiyo mnaweza kuzuia, kwa sababu wote mkiwa pale kwa kijiji mnajuana au popote mnapoishi. Mimi hata wakati nilikuwa Nairobi tulikuwa tunaishi ile mahali tulikuwa, kwa hiyo sehemu tulikuwa tunaishi tulikuwa tunajuana na tulikuwa tumeweka mkataba na wote tulikuwa tunajua nani yuko nani hayuko, nani yuko safarini, hivyo mnajuana, yani kwa hiyo mnalindana, mnasaidiana. Ikiwa watu wakibaki tu kama ubinafsi, hiyo ubinafsi inatumiza sana, kwa sababu unaona kama hiyo. Alafu polisi wetu siku hizi hawafanyi kazi, mimi naweza kusema hivyo, hawafanyi bwana, hawafanyi hiyo investigation. Sasa angalia kitu kama hiyo, mimi sijaona mahali umeenda hospitali umeumia bado hao wanakwambia ati ili tukutibu uende police station. What rubbish is that? Kama umeumia na umekuja hospitali wanakutibu. Hiyo mambo ya kwenda polisi, hiyo ni mambo yako. Ukipenda kwenda utaenda kama umeshatibiwa, ndio unaenda unawaambia nilikuwa nimepigwa, ndio hiyo hapa nimeshatibiwa. Mimi sijasikia eti unaenda kwanza unachukua OB ndio unakuja hospitali. Hiyo sijaona. Unatakiwa uende hospitali kwanza, alafu ndio unaenda kwa polisi baadaye. So hiyo sijasikia kitu kama hiyo. Really hiyo inanishangaza. Hiyo imenishangaza sana. Sijasikia kitu kama hiyo. Na hiyo inatakiwa hao manases wachukuliwe hatua. Hiyo hospitali wanatakiwa wachukuliwe hatua kabisa, na waseme kwa nini. Manake hao wanatakiwa walipe compensation kabisa kwa huyo jamaa, kwa sababu hauwezi mtu anakuja hospitali alafu mnamkataza. What rubbish is that? Hatuwezi kukutibu mpaka uende ulete nani obi. What is that? Hiyo bwana, hiyo ni kitu gani hiyo? Hao watu wetu hawana nidhamu. Hiyo si sheria kabisa. Hiyo si haifuati. Hao wa nurses wa hospitali hawajafuata. Hakuna sheria kama hiyo. Kitu ninachojua ni kwamba unaenda hospitali alafu ndio unaenda kwa polisi. Hauwezi kwenda kwa polisi kwanza ati ndio uende hospitali. Unaenda hospitali kwanza, unatibiwa, ndio unaenda kwa polisi sasa kama uko mzima. Lakini sasa uko mgonjwa, utaendaje kwa polisi? Utaendaje kama umepata accident barabarani? Utajibeba namna gani uende kwa polisi? Hao nasi ni watu wa namna. Mtu ameletwa ameumia, mgonjwa, unawezaje kumwambia ati aende? Hapana. Mimi sijasikia kitu kama hiyo. That is completely awful. Na hizo vitu zinafanyika tu Kenya. Na hiyo kama ikifanyika kama ni Uingereza ama hiyo hospitali itafungwa. Na watu wote wale walihusika hiyo kazi ya watu, hata wengine watafungwa. Hawezi kubaki kumkataza mtu kumtibu alafu anaenda na kufa. Na hata huyo nani police officer huyo kusema ati mpaka tumuone, hiyo upuzi gani? Lakini wale wenye makosa ni hao nurses. Hiyo hospitali ndio iko na makosa, kwa sababu mtu ameshakuja hospitali, ni mgonjwa, anatibiwa. Hiyo mambo ya kwenda kuripoti kwa polisi, hiyo ni mambo yake. Si ninyi hamuhusiki na hiyo. Ninyi mnamtibu, mkisha mtibu basi yeye mwenyewe sasa ataenda kuripoti kwa polisi kwamba nimeumia, nilienda hospitali, nimetibiwa, ndio hivi na hivi na hiyo. Asante sana. Mimi sijasikia kitu kama hiyo.
Let me listen to Lala. Lala.
Pole, niko a little bit noisy, lakini wacha ni seme kidogo. Nakubaliana na Jakindu Bey. Alisema kama hata vita yenyewe, yani your enemies akiumia, kazi yako ni kumpeleka hospitali. Yani your enemy alikuwa na kushoot na saa hizo ameumia, kazi yako ni kufanya nini? Kumpeleka atibiwe. And you can't discriminate. Kama ni vita, yani tuseme Wakenya, kati ya Wakenya, Mkenya anakuwa mgonjwa, yule anakulipa, ndio taxpayer yake inakulipa. Hiyo hospitali iko kwa sababu ya huyo Mkenya na ana atibiwi. That is criminal. That person should never practice. That hospital lazima zifungwe kabisa. Manake hata wa British walipokuwa Kenya, wabeberu, unaita wabeberu, hawakuwa wanyama hivyo, hawakuwa nafanya hivyo. Sasa tumeshida hata ubeberu na mambo zetu. Na hii corruption is worse than anything else that ilifanyika, during colonial time. Corruption. Manake it takes away services from legitimate, the poor and the weak, which kanisa, hata neno la Mungu, kazi ya kanisa ni to provide and protect the widows, the vulnerable. So if you are taking money from them, una divert to your own things, then what are you doing? You're worse. So tukusikia hiyo story ya Ngugi, and it's very, but it's not just him. It's happening all over in Kenya because money is above lives. Hapo we are under the curse of God. So kanisa is really under the curse of God. Finally, wacha niseme kidogo kuhusu hawa watu wa Rongo. Jakindu Bey, mimi sijafanya nini, sijasema kanisa ifanye kazi ya polisi ya hiyo si kazi yao. Kazi yao ni spiritual matters, and they can advise, they can give a chance to understand what's going on, but criminal behavior is criminal. Kama mtu ameumiza mwenzake, amekataza mwingine aende hospitali, that's a criminal. So lazima serikali ingie pale, and serikali can work with the church faithfully. Hata Britain ndio wanafanya hivyo. Yenyewe, hata kanisa yenyewe, kama mtu ameona kitu kibaya, naita tu polisi. A situation which is very hard, still the police has to come in. So the job, polisi ina kazi yake ambayo lazima itimizwe everywhere. If there's a crime, it's everywhere. And government pia in the intelligence must also probe hizi mambo za radicalization. Manake wakati mwingine ni vigumu, lakini kama hizo church bodies zinafanya kazi na intelligence, then you can know those radical, wale wana radical watoto wetu na familia yetu na wanatumiza, because it's just as bad. In fact, in our time, threats huko kwa border si mbaya sana kushinda. In fact, hizi radicalization na hizi vitu vinafanyika ndio mbaya. We should be defending ourselves against, even above those borders, because our borders wanaingia tu, they can go from the air, they can come through cyber, warfare and everything else. So the mind is the battleground. So to ona county za Kenya inawacha watu wauawe kama Shakahola na Ukorongo, inaonyesha as a failed government. Hiyo ni failure mbaya sana, because it seems as if there's some areas that they don't even know what's going on there. And what government is that? Asante, back to you. Rudi kwa Shadizo, nimemaliza. Ndio nilikuwa na nichangie kidogo kuhusu hao vijana. Huyo kijana amepigwa, lakini in fact even the oath hiyo ya polisi wanachukua na hospitali wanachukua, those are two important, you know, segment ya serikali. Hospitali, a nurse, a doctor, any hospital worker, they know their work, and for them to fail, they have failed the bodies which they licensed them. They also failed the people of Kenya. So those are failures on 2-3 different levels, and those must be punished. Na tena nakubaliana Jakindu Bay, kama hakuna adabu, hakuna consequences for anything, then why do we have a government? People steal and they go at IEBC, nobody ever was prosecuted. Huyu Jamali fariki bado anarudi tu kwa mkubwa, and people knew there was a problem. So to me, I think kama tumerogwa kama wa Kenya. You know there's a problem. Mtu ameua watu. People like Musando wamekufa and other people are, and then the same people are trusted again. Unajua haina imekula mbwa zako ama ng'ombe ama mbuzi, alafu na haya that haina too. So there's something wrong with us. I think we are worse than before independence. Maybe we British waje kutuchukua tena. It's very, very sad, because the way things are going, and in fact we are seeing it happening, going back there even right now, the way we are doing things. People like Ruto should have been out. A lot of these guys should not have been there, but they are there, and we expect them to do some miracles. And people are very hoping for something to happen. They are looking for a job in IEBC. What are they looking for? What will IEBC do? Niambieni, Jakindu Bay, nieleze. Shadizo, nieleze, watafanya nini? Which we haven't seen. Ni kutucheza nasi. It's just so sad. Asante.
Thank you. I want to listen as we close up. Jakindu Bay to give us the closing remarks, and then Lala will close. Jakindu Bay, go on.
Mimi nasema nakubaliana na Lala kabisa kwamba hawa watu hakuna kitu wanakuja kufanya. Ndio maana mimi nilikuwa nasema hizi vitu tunarukia tu kwamba tunataka demokrasia, sijui tunataka, lakini hiyo demokrasia hatujui kuitumia. Hata tukisema tunataka serikali, hatujui hata kutumia serikali. Kazi ya serikali ni nini kama kitu inafanyika na hawafanyi uchunguzi, mtu afanye, hakuna consequences, mtu anafanya tu kitu, anarudia huyo mwizi huyo. Sisi tunaambiwa. Ndio maana nasema tunafuata vitu za watu. Ndio maana nimesema tumeacha mila zetu. Mila zetu ulikuwa ukitaka kuchaguliwa kama uniwe kiongozi, ni mtu watu wameangalia nyuma yako, hata familia yako vile umekuwa. Sasa sisi hapa siku hizi tumechukua tu ati ni demokrasia. Mtu tu anatokea ati mimi nichague, na mtu mwenyewe ni mwizi. Mtu mwenyewe pesa zile anakuja nazo ni za wizi. Unaona? Nchi kama Amerika ukitaka kuchaguliwa, watu ndio wanakuchangia pesa. Hata hapa Uingereza watu ndio unapewa pesa na serikali, na chama yako ndio inakupatia pesa. Si ati wewe mwenyewe unatoa. Kenya unatoa pesa. Wewe unatoa pesa wapi? Na unakuta mtu ametumia milioni nyingi sana ndiye achaguliwe. Ukiangalia ile mshahara anapigania achaguliwe na milioni zile ametumia, unashindwa huyu anapiga mathematics namna gani? Kumbe kwa sababu anataka kwenda kuiba. Anajua akipata hiyo nafasi ataiba, atapata pesa za bure tu. So hizi vitu zote ni kwamba ni sisi wenyewe mimi bado nasema Lala kwamba hii mambo ya kuiga hii vitu tunakubali tu eti sisi tumeambiwa na Amerika kwamba mkifanya uchaguzi namna hii ndio hiyo demokrasi. Ni upuuzi mtupu, upuuzi kabisa, upuuzi, kwa sababu sioni hiyo demokrasi vile inatusaidia. Sioni 60 years tunaambiwa sisi Kenya tujakuwa na jeshi, na 60 years bado watoto wa Kenya wanakalia mawe kusoma, hawana madarasa. Sasa hiyo demokrasia inatusaidiaje? Hiyo demokrasia ambayo tunaambiwa ndio nzuri, ambao hawa western wametuambia hii ndio nzuri, sisi wa Kenya tumeifuata. Na Watanzania hawajakuwa na jeshi kwa utawala, na Wakenya sisi hatujakuwa na. Mbona bado tuko tu nyuma? Tuliambiwa hiyo demokrasi ndio inaleta maendeleo. Maendeleo gani iko? Where is it? Hakuna. So ni kwa sababu tuliacha njia ya sisi wenyewe. Sisi wenyewe tunatakiwa tuwe na njia yetu sisi, ndio tujiendeleze. Lakini tukifuata njia za watu hizi, angalia vitu watu wanafanya. Hospitali huwezi kwenda kama umeumia. Hospitali hawana haja na hiyo mambo ya ripoti kwa polisi. Hawana, hawahusiki kabisa. Ukienda hospitali unatibiwa, basi wewe ndio unajipeleka kwa polisi. Watu wa hospitali hawahusiki kabisa na mambo ya polisi. Hawana, there's nothing like that. Hii ni jambo la kusikitisha sana kusikia vitu kama hiyo. Ni kusikitisha zaidi. Kwa hiyo sisi wa Kenya hata sielewi hao, na utaona hiyo hospitali hata itachukuliwa hatua, hata hao watu hakuna kitu watafanywa, hiyo itaenda tu hivyo, kwa sababu hao ambao wamekosewa ni watu tu wadogo kama sisi, hakuna mtu atawasikiza. Asante sana.
Asante Jakintu, wacha tumsikize Lala.
Tatizo shida ambao tuko nao ni watu ambao sijui tusemeje, yani mkosa mila atakuwa mtumwa, and mila zetu zimechanganyikiwa the point where we don't know what we want. Hata hizo vitu tunachukua from other people, we don't even follow them. Na ni kwa sababu tamaa na hiyo ukoloni ambaye ilitu bombaza. It's like we have been injured emotionally and mentally to the point where we don't know ourselves. And so we need to come back to our senses. Ili we can rescue, yani ili nchi yetu ipate kuinuka tena. Manake tuna mila kama Afrika, kuna uhaki ndani wa Afrika. Mkubwa ama leader, kiongozi alikuwa beyond reproach. Kama tu Biblia inasema lazima awe mtu ambaye anaheshimiwa, in other words, hata spirit ile ya dunia walikuwa wamemtia tick kwamba huyu ni mtu wetu, huyu ndiye anataka kutuongoza. Vijana na wazee wanamheshimu. Huyo ndiye alikuwa mzee mwenye hekima, ndio kiongozi. Ana experience, tena ana knowledge. Hizo mbili zilikuwa a must. And mtu ana integrity. That was leadership. And those are the quality of leadership that many of these developed countries have pursued. They may not have been perfect, but they pursue that. And that was ilikuwa nasi, tulikuwa naye in African culture. Lakini kuna a group of us who picked ukoloni. All we picked from tulikuchagua ni zile ambazo inatufaa sisi wenyewe. Ni kama tu Waisraeli walipoenda vitani waambiwa wa destroy, lakini wengine wanachukua vitu for themselves, for their families, and God was very mad with them. And that's what we have done. God is mad with us because we select things for our interest. The laws, the constitution, tuna select, lakini zile ambazo zina benefit watu wa chini, we don't care about them. And that must change. So let's work hard, let's be honest with ourselves, and let's destroy this demon of corruption ili tuwe na country. Asante sana Shedizo, asante sana Jakindube, asante sana nimefunga hapo. Asante sana wote.
Thank you so much for joining up. It has been a good moment with you guys, and I want to appreciate for everyone, even if those who are watching on the comment section. Please team comment section, I really appreciate, and I appreciate for the contribution. I think we have aligned something somewhere to our nation, and our nation will go smoothly the way we desire it to go. I don't have much to say, but I'll close up from there. Let us meet tomorrow, the same place, the same time, the same hour, the same minute, doing the same show, but analyzing a different topic, and God will bless you all. Thank you. I go by the name Shadizo. I've been your host. Till next time.
Tusikubali kutenganishwa na siasa, tujirushe kwa mashimo, miaka 5, miaka 10, tuishi tukiregret kama watu wa Mount Kenya.
I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to Paris, that we are likely to default and get payment. That is irresponsible statement.
The Mbadi I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi,